What's up, everybody? It's Luke James, not the singer. If you're looking to get your music reviewed, you can hit up this email that's right here. But today I'm going to hit you up with my thoughts and opinions on this new project from Drake called Care Package. Now, Drake is a rapper and singer who's coming out of Toronto, Canada. I don't got to do a big rundown here because we all know who he is. And regardless of how you feel about him, he has been a staple in the rap game for about 10 years now. He has been a bit hit and miss over those years, just like many other artists who have been around for quite a while. But I think he did have a good run in the early 2010s, which is actually where a lot of these songs come from. So before we get into this, I just want to make it clear that I feel like everything post If You're Reading This It's Too Late has really not been some of his best work. There's certainly been some songs here and there that I've enjoyed, but his projects have often been overstuffed all over the place and not really enjoyable, just like Views and Scorpion, to throw a couple of them out there. But now we come to this project right here, and this is a collection of unreleased tracks that you probably have heard before. As I said, they are mostly coming from the early 2010s, and that said, I'm not going to do a full breakdown here because where these tracks are, 5 to 10 years old, I think most of us have heard all these before. We've probably discussed them in one way or the other, and some of them have even been reviewed on the channel when I reviewed the albums that they were off of, or maybe some of the Lucy's and stuff that Drake has dropped, because he's always dropping these little EPs and things like that. So for just a couple examples of what I'm talking about, some songs that you may have heard before, we have The Motion, which was featured on Nothing Was the Same, and also My Side on If You're Reading This It's Too Late. I'm not sure if these songs were on the standard editions of these albums. I believe they might have been on the bonus/deluxe editions, but either way, you probably heard those two songs and a bunch of the other ones. But I still felt like it was important to talk about this project because this is a really nice collection of tracks, man. A lot of these songs really come from that time when he was doing Take Care and Nothing Was the Same, and I think those are the two Drake albums that most people would put in their top two, regardless of how you're going to break down his discography, which I did do on my podcast, by the way, so check it out if you want to see me ranking his discography. I think regardless of how you break it down, those two are usually at the top. It's very rare to see them down lower, and I would be surprised if they were. But some of the songs on here, they just really remind you of how good Drake used to be, man. I was talking earlier in this review about how some of his more recent stuff hasn't been hitting me, but I really did like some of his early work. Like if you ask me, Take Care was great, Nothing Was the Same was great. There are arguments there that could be made that they're classics. I probably just stirred some shit up there because I know the word classic is thrown around a whole lot, but those are just two damn really good albums. We'll see with more time maybe how everybody feels. But for example, man, you got 2011 song Dreams Money Can Buy. We're getting this very dreamy 40 beat, so it's that vintage Drake as he raps lines like, I feel like lately it went from top 5 to remaining 5. My favorite rappers either lost it or they ain't alive. I thought that was a pretty good line. And on the classic Jodeci freestyle, it's Drake and J. Cole jumping on this high quality production from Bink, who probably doesn't get enough love. He absolutely smashed this beat. I love the Jodeci sample on here. And of course, this is a song where they had to take out a bar from J. Cole's verse because he had something about being autistic and retarded, just some outdated shit that they didn't really need to keep in there. And you can argue about censorship and all that, but I certainly understand where they're coming from and why they wanted to take that out, given today's current climate and just that people are learning more, about various things that people are dealing with, including autism. So, it is what it is. I get why they did do that to re-release this on Spotify like this, but I just feel like this track really shows these two at their best. It's kind of cool to look back at these times when both of them were really starting to make their mark on the game with songs like this. And we also get some of my favorite Drake songs ever on here, man. We got 4 p.m. in Calabasas and 5 a.m. in Toronto. These songs are both slappers. Always like that beat on 4 p.m. in Calabasas, and 5 a.m. in Toronto has this sort of eerie and dark vibe to it. I really like what Drake was doing on there, as both of these songs are just that Drake where he's taking shots at his enemies, letting you know where he's at in his life, some of the things that he's dealing with, how he's rising up to the top of the rap game. I think these are just two of the better songs in his entire catalog, in my opinion. I guess it depends on what Drake you like, but I like when he's straight spitting like this over some high quality instrumentals. So I was happy to see those two tracks on here, and really it's just great that we have all these tracks in one place so we don't got to run to YouTube or SoundCloud or wherever just to get them, or use YouTube to MP3 or something like that. Now you can just have this on your Spotify, whatever it is you use to stream music, and there you go, man, you got it right there. And it's actually pretty crazy when you're looking at these tracks just to think of the overall quality. Like some of these very easily could have made it on some of those projects he's working on, including on the song Free Spirit. This is a Rick Ross collaboration, and anytime Rick Ross and Drake come together, they pretty much come through with a hit. You can just look at when they did Aston Martin music, and of course, we have Paris Morton music, which was a little remix that Drake did sometime after Aston Martin music, I believe. It's all Drake with no Rick Ross on it. We do have that on here as well, man. You get that beautiful and glorious Justice League production on there. You know how it goes. And honestly, man, it's not just Drake's rapping that's better on here. I feel like his singing on here is much better. In recent years, he sounds like he's just sort of droning. You know, he's like sedated and he just doesn't really care. But here he actually had some better layers and vocals. You'll notice this on songs like Trust Issues and Club Paradise, which are 2 more cuts from the Take Care days, and they're giving you that hazy, atmospheric Drake. So there really aren't a lot of complaints I have with this album, man. I think it's pretty good. And not surprisingly, some of the weaker cuts are the newer cuts, like How About Now and Heat of the Moment. These two actually came out, I believe, in 2014. Drake had a tweet about how some hackers had these songs, so he just put them out. I remember when he did drop that little EP, I think Six God was on there as well. And you know, they're not all out awful joints. I did kind of like How About Now. It has a cool beat on it. Once again, we're getting a Jodeci sample on there, I believe. But Heat of the Moment was one of the driest songs of this collection, so that's why I had to have it as one of my least favorites, along with Can I, which honestly is in the running for one of the worst Drake songs ever, man. That shit is dumpster juice with extra fish bones, rodent carcasses, fucking cat paws, not bunny paws, not the lucky ones. I'm just talking about some dirty ass murdered cat paws and shit floating around in this barrel of dumpster juice. That song is so damn bad. Hate that shit. You got that annoying little Beyonce voice on there going, can I, baby, or some shit like that. I believe it was Beyonce. Really didn't like those 2 songs, man. I think Can I is definitely in the running for one of the worst Drake songs of all time. But other than that, man, I really don't have too many complaints with this one. I would give it a 4 out of 5. I think this is Drake at his best. These are the earlier years, the 2010s, where Drake was really coming through with some of his best bars, some of his best singing. He just seemed really focused, and it was more refreshing and new back then. Everything here just feels very natural and organic, and I like that, man. I think this is a really dope collection of tracks. But let me know how you feel about it, man. How do you guys feel about Drake in general? Do you like his older stuff like this? Do you like his newer stuff? Do you think this is a good collection? Because I'm certainly going to be enjoying this and playing some of these tracks back, man. I think he gave us a good one with this, and now we got to see where he's going to go next, man. Just like Nas, who released the Lost Tapes too. But then again, some of his newer stuff like Nasir, nah, not so much. But there you have it, man. There's my thoughts on Care Package from Drake. Hit me up in the comments section with your thoughts and opinions, because I always want to know how you feel. And of course, make sure you do that good YouTube and social media stuff where you show me love and you show me lots of it. Thank you for watching, everybody. I will see you next time.